What's going on, everybody? It's your host, Dr. Splash, and we're back to covering comics, reviewing comics. We're just gonna review the ones that look sick, seem amazing, that y'all really want me to cover. X-Men Revelations, fucking insane. Okay, Overture just dropped. Wolverine's wildin'. I need to show you guys what's happening, and I'm going to give a little more context and cover two comics today because there is a precursor to Overture that makes the comic make a lot more sense. It gives us more context, right? Which is what you guys want to ultimately enjoy the story. If you love content like this, I have made a deal with you guys. If you get me to 100K subscribers, I will give out every single scan server I have absolutely free to my subscribers, free access to all of it. Hundreds to thousands of characters fully scaled, tens of thousands of comics, animes, and more. So much stuff. I will make it free to the citizens of Yancey Street. So make sure to like and subscribe. Now, back on track, right? What is the Book of Revelation? What's it based on? Now, you've probably been seeing Revelation flash across your screen while I'm talking. Buddy is dripped out of his mind. He is the son of Apocalypse. Essentially has similar powers to Apocalypse, including the Word of God, which essentially allows him to get people to do what he wants. And this is a story of what happens when Revelation joins the X-Men and what happens 10 years down the road. This is indeed a future story in 616, right? One that hopefully Marvel prevents from happening because it's absolutely fucked for everybody else except Rev and his boys, okay? This is the Age of Revelation. You officially know why it's called that. That's the name of the son of Apocalypse. Now, getting officially into the story, everywhere is being taken over by the forces of Revelation for mutants to rule. As described by Zorn, who's essentially this mutant that walks around with a literal star in his head, like his head is actually an event horizon. It's fucking insane. He says this is a false heaven ruled by the devil himself. And then we see it flash back to give a little more context to why it's so fucked up, right? 10 years prior to this moment, Revelation had joined the X-Men. Again, he's the heir to Apocalypse, but he's vibes, right? Like, they're like, yo, this dude's mad strong. Humanity's always trying to fold us because y'all know Marvel humans don't give a fuck, right? They be wilding. And they're like, yeah, we always need help preparing for something like Marvel Humans. Let's have Revelation join the team. Now, Revelation becomes a very complicated character in how he's dealing with the mutant and the humanity because he's two different things, right? One, he has the power and drive and desire of Apocalypse, which is basically instilling Darwinism. Apocalypse, the supreme mutant, his father believes that it's survival of the fittest. So whenever he pops up, he's basically trying to test people and make sure they're as strong as can be, which includes, obviously, the mutants, which he derives from. Now, what's also on top of this is Revelation's own personal desires, right? The desire to rule, the desire to bring everything under his rule and to have everything work under him. In fact, at this point, he's not really crazy. He just genuinely believes that with the voice of God and everything he can potentially do, he could bring Earth under one umbrella under the mutants, right? Using the methods his father uses. That's when he invades S.H.I.E.L.D., right? He convinces the X-Men, we need to pull up on S.H.I.E.L.D., right? We need to go get these characters that can ultimately help our cause. Well, in this raid, which obviously, as the X-Men, as mutants, raiding S.H.I.E.L.D. anyway is basically a declaration of war, so it's fucking insane. That just goes to show you Revelation was willing to go to those lengths even early on, right? This raid killed both Maria Hill, one of the most prominent S.H.I.E.L.D. members ever, and Majik, one of the most prominent mutants ever. By the way, the fact S.H.I.E.L.D. killed Majik, it's saying, like, that bitch be wild. And so the fact that they caught one of the strongest mutants slipping, that's crazy. Like, shout out to the Marvel humans for moving different, right? But this all is becoming sticky and complicated, right? Like, everything Revelation's doing at this point, it's gonna start coming to a head. And we see the reason he's able to get the X-Men to do what he wants them to do, and he's even able to lead them, because after that raid, Cyclops quit. He's like, I'm a shitty leader, I got my people killed, like, fuck this. He leaves, so Revelation's in charge. Well, using the voice of God, he's telling them what to do. The only mutant who can actually go against that is Zorn, because he has an event horizon for a brain. So you can't, like, you can't really appeal to that, right? It's a black hole. You just can't emotionally appeal to a fucking black hole. The rest of the mutants kind of fold under him or left once Zorn left, because Zorn was a voice of reason. He's like, yo, this voice of God doesn't work on me. Let me tell y'all what we should do. But he eventually left. And when that happened, everything folded because there was no opposing voice of reason. We see Revelation, who I might call Rev throughout the video for short. That's Big Rev, okay? Dripped out of his fucking mind. Now, he decimates Philadelphia. Shout out to Philly. Y'all got dunked on. Holy shit. Like, he ran down on you bitches. Now, he hit them with this biblical-like illness, right? Which should make sense to you if you've ever read Apocalypse. You know he likes to get into biblical shit, right? He's a hooligan. So his son doing that makes sense. He hits them with this disease, and they blame it on a mutant cult called 3K or SK. It's one of those shits. And they are like, yo, the mutants are fucking bombing you guys. So, of course, at this point, the X-Men step in. They're like, yo, mutant terrorists, we'll stop them for you guys. So Revelation leads them in this effort. But, of course, the Earth soon becomes hostile to human life form as the X virus spread. And if this virus doesn't kill you, it turns you into a mutant. So what's essentially happening is if it doesn't eradicate the human, it will either turn them into a mutant, or if they happen to not get infected by it, the Earth itself no longer supports humanity. Like, it's actually becoming biologically hostile towards human life, which is crazy. It just shows you how stupidly powerful Revelation is. Rev then took command of life itself by having his power amped. As I said, he was going around finding characters that could ultimately help him. He was disguising it as, yo, they help the mutant kind, but actually it's just helping him get stronger, right? He uses this to strengthen his voice and all his powers, and he essentially steps into the role of a messiah, right? He's like, yo, I'm going to save Earth. I'm going to save mutants. And you know what? I know this shit looks crazy, like a bunch of humans died here, it's all mutants around here on this side of the East Coast, whatever. We're gonna live here. This is our new Krakoa. Krakoa is gone, the mutant island's gone, we have our new Krakoa, right? And there's another place for mutants on Mars called Arakko, which we'll talk about later because it's super important, it's fucking lit. Best part of the story, son. I'm getting hyped just thinking about it, okay? We'll talk about that later, but Krakoa is gone. He's essentially proposing, yo, this is like our new Krakoa, it's lit here, okay? Mutants, come stay with your boy, all right? We'll stop the terrorists, but we'll keep the mutants here. Now, essentially, this is Rev taking America for the mutants. Like, as you guys can tell, he's literally turning America into mutants' homeland. And if they try to interfere, his mutants are too strong for humanity. So, like, even when they send assassins, ultimately, it's not enough. Like, I'm pretty sure it's Bullseye. We see Bullseye was attacking at one point and just dies. In the effort. Shout out to bro. It's funny as fuck thinking about that, because if that was Bullseye, bro, Bullseye accepted smoke with all the mutants. It was like, yo, I'll try to kill him, fuck it. Shout out to Big Bullseye. If it wasn't, it's just a random human, which is even more raw, but I'm pretty sure it was Bullseye. So at this point, in this beef, Revelation decides to end it. How does he do that? Well, the US was doing a pretty good job protecting the White House. They were actually using superpowers and stuff and force fields. He gets around it. Nukes the White House. President's gone. People of power are gone in America. And it straight up says, you know, in this time period, America never recovers from that. Like, they don't truly respond and properly overhaul after that. He basically broke the nation with that move. Now we see not everybody's going for this shit in terms of mutants, right? Some of them are like, yo, this is fucked up. Like, even though we want mutants to be first and we want the best for mutants, it's not at the expense of humanity, right? We're not going to genocide. Now, Revelation has built this kingdom upon a throne of lies that are unbearable, and his seraphim, his false angels, enforce this rule. And this is one of the craziest parts of the story, right? And by the way, if you haven't guessed what that lie the throne is built upon, you'll figure it out soon if you haven't already figured it out. And they do discuss it in this comic. But he strips his opposition, like literally anyone that opposes him, for example, Beast, he strips them of the literal concept of communication. Not only can they literally not talk, they don't know conceptually how to communicate. So imagine someone as brilliant, we'll talk about this a little more in the comment. Imagine someone as brilliant as Beast, someone whose mind literally can understand on a multiversal conceptual level, one of the smartest minds to exist in creation of Marvel. But then he loses the ability to communicate. Literally, the concept of communication escapes him despite his brilliance. That's crazy. Now, Cyclops and Magneto are the ones leading a team of rebels determined to end this false heaven, right? They see what's going on. Forge is in the cut. They're all in the cut. And they tell everyone, like, yo, this is a false heaven ran by a devil. let's get to the bag, right? We ain't never been bitches. We're taking war to Revelation's front door. We slide, okay? So they are mobilizing to go against us, right? That's the end of the first comic. We're covering the start of Revelation. And this is ultimately a story of what could be, but but must not be, right? And what do we mean by that? This is a potential future in 616 that very well could happen. But if it were to technically go through and happen, it basically spells doom for 616, most of 616 characters. So ultimately the X-Men, despite some arguments existing for this helping mutants, they have to go against this, right? They can't let this future, this is almost worse than Days of Future Past, right? It's bad. And this is the kind of thing they can't let come into existence, right? They got to do their best to stop it, which leads us into X-Men Age of Revelation Overture, okay? This is where Wolverine starts wilding the fuck out, okay? If you came here to see Wolverine catch bodies, son, if you came here for Wolverine to not job, it's a beautiful day when he doesn't job. You made it to the right spot, okay? The Seraphim, like Psylocke rather, and the Choristers, who are the ones that amp the powers, basically his inner priest circle, they visit a devastated mutant town and use the power to instill the miracle of rebuilding it. Essentially, they go around like, yo, we're the Messiah, we're gonna show you by helping you, right? They do shit like that. Pretty good setup, right? Like pretty good Joel Osteen type vibe. This was a setup, little bitch. Don't get wet up, okay? Forge is in the cut. Forge uses this little girl to set up the priest that helps amp the likes of Revelation, right? Blows that bitch's head off. Psylocke is supposed to be the bodyguard and is like, oh shit, something's wrong. Was too late. Forge catches a body, who, if you don't know, Forge can basically make any weapon he imagines. And it essentially, it functions as like a power source that is infinite creativity with weapons, right? Like if you wanted a character that can basically make any weapon they can conceptualize, it's Forge, and it's sick, right? So he caught this body, he was like, that shit was easy, fuck y'all, dibs. Psylocke is pissed because she just got one of the holy warriors for Revelation killed, right? Bad look, she does not want to go back to base. The rebels then bring back young Cyclops into his older body to lead this war. Again, like I told you guys, a lot of the ops, like Cyclops and Beast, the concept of communication, like their personalities and everything was messed with to prevent them from stopping Revelation. So Magneto and the crew take their personalities from a decade prior and bring it up to speed, right? They put it in this body and they're like, yo, we got to tell you what's going down so that you're on our side and you're caught up to speed. Now, Cyclops, when he pulls back up, he's like, oh shit, like, why did y'all summon me forward in a decade? That's insane. What would cause you guys to do that? It's so bad that he's like, yo, was this shit extra dimensional? Like, did some god or devil come down and like fuck with us? Like, what's going on? They're like, nah, bro, we actually are the ones that screwed ourselves. It's actually our fault that this happened. And that's when we pan over to Revelation, right? And he has just found out that he has ops he was not aware about. Essentially, he is made aware that Psylocke got one of his priests killed, which is a big fucking deal because he only has a few of them that can amp his powers. So he's like, yo, bitch, you got my boy killed. Like, you got my girl killed. What are you doing? And he says, yo, we didn't have ops before, but we do now, which means someone snitched. Someone out there is a leak. And he was like, yo, you're mad good at what you do, right? And this is obviously a reference to who he thinks snitched, because he's like, I'm pretty sure I know who's out there that snitched on me. Since you're so great at getting women killed, Psylocke, I need you to go kill my wife, right? Because I'm pretty sure that's the one who snitched. And the people that got my priest killed, I will send my angel of death to deal with them. We see who Revelation's wife is, right? It's Bay, the Blood Moon, right? Possessor of the Doom Note, champion of Arakko, wife of Revelation, and a fugitive. Now, I can't emphasize this enough. Revelation's wife, Big Bay, that bitch is raw, right? This is one of the dopest female comic characters I've seen in a minute. Like, I think a lot of people complain about woke and anti-woke shit. Let me tell you something. When we get a properly written female character, it's lit, right? Because we don't always get those, because men sometimes fail to capture what makes like a dope female character, and it's mostly men writing these comics. But this character, bout it, son. Like, she is bout it. Now we pan back over to Cyclops, who initially does not get why they have a problem with Revelation, as technically this is the best mutant situation since Krakoa. He's like, yo, we have our own nation. It's basically all mutants here. Humanity's not really doing shit to us. Like, what's going on? And Magneto's like, look, as much as this kingdom looks cool on the surface, this was built on lies and genocide. And no matter how fucked up you think I am, we're not gonna move like that. And before people ask about this Magneto, he's moving a little differently, and he also has his powers literally were changed from him being brought back to life from one of the recent storylines. So his powers are actually a little off right now. Everything's a little different for Magneto, right? And he's like, look, Beast came back and discovered something insane. We can't let this shit slide. And we see the reason why he was brought back, right? Beast and Cyclops, what do they represent? Well, Cyclops represents the greatest leaders the mutant has ever seen, right? Mutant kind has never had a better leader than Cyclops when it matters most. Whether you're a fan or not, pretty much true, right? The best leader of them, the most trusted. But the greatest mind among the mutants was Beast. And you require both to take down someone like Revelation, which is why they were immediately targeted to have their communication stripped. Now, 3K, and this is where the lie is revealed if you didn't pick up on it, 3K never led the genocide, right? Those terrorists, those mutant terrorists, they never did it. It was Revelation this whole time, and he led the investigation and the cleanup. So there was no way he could have been caught in this effort. But the mutants did, right? The stragglers did. Magneto wants this shit back in blood. He's like, bro, we gotta kill Revelation. Come hell or high water, we're getting this done, right? We have to at all costs. Now we see there's an agenda of Revelation. Basically, we're being told there's a bunch of crazy stories coming up designed by Hickman. So Hickman's having a hand in all this. We got stuff like the X-Men Future arc, including stories of Spider-Man failing to save New York and a new Phoenix host facing Binary. We're going to see some wild shit in this run, okay? And I'm kind of excited for it, and let me know in the comments if you want me to cover all these different branch-offs, right? Well, Psylocke has been dispatched, as we pan over, has been dispatched to handle the wife of Revelation. Pulls up on her, and Bay's not going for this shit. She watches the Jobbers series and now named the Crash Out series, okay? Because she sees Psylocke and she's like, yo, bitch, you're kind of a bum. Like, I don't even know if you're going to be a good fight. Let's see if you still have some balls on you, right? Let's see if you're still moving crazy out here. Immediately is down to fight Psylocke. It's sick. The X-Men, as we see, are a lot more dangerous as we pan back over to the X-Men group with Cyclops, because as he runs into them, he realizes like, yo, the X-Men are a lot more willing to kill than we usually are. For example, they see a kid spying on them and the X-Men up the poles, and Cyclops like, what are you doing? We don't beef with children. And the X-Men are like, yes, we do. In this timeline, we absolutely do, because those are Omega kids, and Omega kids run and snitch to Apocalypse or Revelation. That's why we kill them. And he's like, yo, shit is serious if the X-Men are literally like trying to up the pole on kids. Like, holy shit, how dark has this future gotten? We then pan over to Bay versus Psylocke, right? And Bay is talking her shit. She's like, yo, Psylocke, you worship a false god. You worship a false message. Your boy's full of shit. And I'm the one that recognized it, bro. He won't let the world see who he is, and he's scared to. And that's why he's a bitch and you're a bitch. When Psylocke says stand down, Bay says the only thing she hates more in existence, and the only thing she truly will ever hate, is a coward. And she allows Psylocke to stab her. You might be like, yo, why did you let her stab her? It's called horror farming, bitch. Now, peep game, right? Bay lets Psylocke stab her. And she's like, yo, you dumb ninja bitch. I was letting you stab me with your ninja sword so that I could send a message to Mars. And Psylocke's like, yo, you're sending a message to Mars? What, you sending it to Arakko? And she says, yeah, I just called Apocalypse, someone far older and wiser than the boy you worship, and he will know exactly what to do. And then she says, Psylocke, go ahead and lean in. My life is over. Let me speak these words and make sure your life ends as well. Oh my God. Aura farming elite. Dude, shout out to Bay. Shout out to Bay. She's the big dog, right? We see the Angel of Death as we pan over to the X-Men group again, is in complete pursuit of the X-Men. And Magneto is absolutely horrified, right? He's looking back and he's kind of realizing who the Angel of Death is. And he's like, holy shit, Scott, I'm so sorry. Scott turns around. Cyclops turns around to witness absolute hell, right? Magneto goes down, stabbed in the chest immediately by Wolverine. A lot of people are gonna be like, how do you body Magneto? I just told you his powers are a little off, right? This ain't Pete Magneto, plus this is Wolverine. Under the voice of God, he's just primarily hunting, right? Like that's his sole focus right now. And there's not many people scarier than Wolverine when he is on your ass, right? Forge goes to shoot him, and they even have prepped Nova bombs to melt adamantium, right? Like this is real smoke. And he immediately stabs Forge. Forge goes down too as Angel desperately tries to hold off Wolverine. This is hilarious because, oh my God, if I have anybody fighting to save me or avenge me, I don't want Angel, bro. Angel sucks. And he's like, yo, I'm the avenging Angel. Obviously does not kill Wolverine, just holds him off for like 3 seconds. And Cyclops is in absolute horror, right? This is a bloodbath. Wolverine's taking out Magneto, Forge is down, unhinged Wolverine is absolutely tearing them apart. He even has bombs on them. Throws a bomb on these bitches to get them out of his face, right? Like he is not going out for anything. And the surviving X-Men have to flee. They can't handle this Wolverine, right? Wolverine, when he is locked the fuck in, is one of the scariest things out there, okay? Because he doesn't give a shit about your scaling. He's gonna stab a hoe, right? You better be immortal. You better be immortal because you're gonna get stabbed in this bitch, okay? The survivors flee and Zorn prepares his event horizon to set off. He tells Wolverine he is not fast enough to dodge Zorn. So will he be tough enough to dodge an exploding star, right? A literal event horizon. Wolverine says, I'm not sure, bitch. Let's find out together. Stabs him and ensures they're together when it goes off. The event horizon goes off. This mini star explodes. And indeed, it's confirmed Wolverine was tough enough. Okay? This was not able to kill him. And he claws his way back out as the rest of the team had escaped. Now this pans over and we end the comic with Revelation pulling up on Bay, right? And she's dying from the stab. And he hits her with a cold ass line, you know? He said, hey, you've been a part of the mission and you've seen how much I'm willing to do to see this mission through. So let me tell you this right now, right? This mission is the most important thing to ever exist. And the best way I can prove that is to kill the person I love the most just to see the mission go through. And he stabs and finishes off his wife to prove that he's even willing to kill the one he loves the most to ensure victory. We now see that the X-Men must venture into a new land to find a hope of stopping Revelation, or else everything is cooked. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think of this story so far? I think it's fucking insane. I had fun covering Revelation up to this point, and if you want to see me continue to cover it, let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of Revelation as well? I think he's a dope villain, and I'm looking forward to Apocalypse pulling up on his bitch ass, right? Because that's going to be a vibe check of the century. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, it's Yancey Street, bitches.